good afternoon, Marguerite, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview.
Hi, Michael. It's a delight.
It's great to be here.
Always.
Well, you know, the purpose of these interviews are to help show people and help our viewers and listeners see others that have been there, done that.
Oh dear.
Yes. and had their own challenges and obstacles, and yet they've learned to face them, deal with them, get through them. There's all sorts of metaphors there, but so it's just thought, you know, you've been a lady who's had the courage to change countries, get an education, raise a family.
Yeah.
Along the way, I'm sure you've hit a couple of speed bumps.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. So
I tried to forget them, but you seem to be insing that I bring them
well,
out.
just for today.
Okay, just for today. I can do that.
I'm looking for just 2 or 3 stories that that you faced along the way. You know, the viewers don't need to hear mine. They've heard some of them before on radio interviews, and they'll hear some of them in the future.
Yeah.
But in high school, grade school, I took on the school bully. Very proud of myself. He was physically bigger, and he showed me that several times. But intellectually, I said, "What's that proof when you beat people up?" So leave the little people alone, because in my world, big people that hit little people are cowards. So you know what? He left them all alone except for me. I was a good runner.
I am pretty sure.
So that's the purpose of it, and you know, along the way you became a published author. And
Yes, I did.
You got some, as one of my friends with a PhD said, became edified, formally.
I know, certified bright, I call it.
And then I got to hear you speak in the last year on the topic of joy, which was almost incongruent with the professional degrees and designations.
I know.
Which I thought made you even more interesting.
I know, people are very confused, I must say. You know, on the one hand, they see Harvard MBA, and then on the other hand, they see this bundle of energy smiling and grinning all over the place, and they're like, what? We thought Harvard MBAs were serious people.
Almost dour.
Yes, and I'm like, well, that may be so, but this one isn't.
Well, from my experience, and mostly in business sales, business to business, I found that for professionals that were the most successful were the ones that had a sense of purpose and a sense of joy.
Absolutely. I mean, why would you not work with joy? Why would you? That's my whole thing, you know, that joy is a choice. Being happy is a choice. And it has very little to do with your external circumstances. And I always say, Michael, if you look at video clips of, you know, tragedies, you'll always see people smiling or laughing. And it always amazes me. I also blog, by the way, and I remember I did a blog a few years ago on an interview with this wonderful old lady who was a survivor of a concentration camp, Auschwitz, I believe, but she was a musician. And she was just smiling and laughing in this interview, but she made the point, she said, yes, even in that camp, we laughed. And I said, my gosh, if you can laugh at Auschwitz, if there can be laughter there, what excuse do most of us have not to laugh at some point in our lives and not to choose to laugh?
And it's the choice that I think is important.
Yes.
Yes, because I've been told I laugh too easy.
Well, you know, as we would say in Jamaica, where I'm from, I've been told, you're too laughy. Right, so, which of course gets me laughing.
And myself as well, because, you know, in my case, you've been told you're going to die a couple of times. You go,
yeah,
I only have so much time left. I'm going to be serious and do all the paperwork, the legal things, but I'm going to have fun too.
Absolutely.
I'm going to live till I die, not fade away, and whether that's 30 days or 30 years. So when I heard you talk on joy, I thought, kindred spirits.
Absolutely. And you know what else I love? You know, engaging the Harvard left brain side of it. You know, people are doing research into this joy and happiness and laughter thing. And they're finding that people who are joyful and happy at work are 30% more productive. So it goes right down to the bottom line. So there, I say in my MBA hat, you know, there's a serious value proposition around joy here.
And there is. I remember reading that American Express did some research on people who had higher levels of emotional intelligence, which I believe joy is a big piece of.
Oh, yes.
And they were up to 112% more productive if they learned all the series of emotional intelligence skills.
That's right.
And to me, joy is one of the best to start on, and one of the last ones to use in any situation. Because if it's respectful, which joy is, it helps glue us together in commonality, because we're sharing a joyful thing.
That's right.
And whether it's a sunrise, a sunset, or the silliness of head office, they've done it again.
That's right.
So good, so good. So tell me, in your going through school and deciding to leave home and leave your country to go to school elsewhere, any challenges, any speed bumps there?
Well, first of all, the decision to leave Jamaica and move to Canada actually came pretty late in life.
Okay.
Yes. When I was settled, had teenage children and so on, and people would say to me, wow, Marguerite, you're really brave to be picking yourself up and leaving an awful, hot, muggy Jamaica and going to lovely, cold, freezing Canada. And I said, well, why not? Why not? So I grew up in a family business, and the family business struggled. So I think the first main challenge I had was that I care to remember and share is, actually there's one in before that. I had a challenge when I was about maybe 8 or 9 years old. My father's brother's wife died, and she left 3 children. And one was 12, one was 7 at the time, and one was a year and a half.
Wow.
I know.
That's really young.
And the story is that on her deathbed, they lived in New York. On her deathbed, my father, Douglas, she said to him, Douglas, please take care of the children for me. And my father was someone of the highest integrity, and his word was his bond. So him having said, yes, Dottie, I will, he did. So he brought these 2 children to Jamaica to live with us. Well, that just totally discombobulated our household. And of course, everyone was sorry for these 2 kids because they just lost their mother. The eldest child stayed in New York for a while. They just lost their mother. They were in a new environment. So I was there stewing along with my sister, and I must tell you that how I responded, I was really mean to those girls. Really mean. So that one really was a challenge.
How old were you then, Doug?
I was like 7 or 8. I must have been,
So they were on your turf, in your space.
Yeah, they came into my space. They took my mom, they took my dad's attention, and of course I didn't know what in the world was going on. And don't get me wrong, we had some fun times with them. So the end of the story is that we're all best of friends, and we all love each other very much. And my mom is their mom, and we're fine. We've healed.
Good. Oh.
I think they've forgiven me, and most importantly, I've forgiven myself for being so mean. And that's lesson number 1: forgive yourself.
Because in life we're going to make mistakes, even when we do our best with eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
And so, as one of my mentors said, a life of mastery is one of acceptance and forgiveness.
Yes.
Just don't repeat it.
And you'll repeat it until you learn the lesson. So yeah, I forgave myself. I've forgiven myself.
Wow.
And now we're just wonderful, wonderful friends.
Good.
Dear cousins and sisters.
Yeah, all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would really confuse some people. Sisters and cousins.
Whatever. Another major challenge I had was a business-related one. So I grew up in a family business. My parents had a family business.
Right.
And when I was, 22 or 23 years old, I just left University of the West Indies. I just graduated, and I was working in a sort of entry-level job. And my brother, who's 8 years older than me, called me, and he was running the family business at the time. Family business, we're in woodworking, and we made wooden doors.
Okay.
And so it was a very male-oriented environment, 70 men.
Wow.
And not particularly well-educated, but just wonderful craftsmen. And many of them had known me from when I was a baby, right? Because they all grew up in the family business as well. And so my brother called me on this day and he said, listen, I've been accepted to do my MBA at Harvard Business School and I'm going and I need someone to run the family business and I think you'd be the right person.
Okay.
So 22 years old, right? So I said, well, this is your big brother, so what do you say? No. This is his opportunity of a lifetime. What do I say? He's putting a lot of trust in me. So I said, sure. Resigned from my entry-level job and worked in the business with him for about 5 or 6 months, and then he got on a plane and left. So at that point in time, I was the managing director of this firm. I was 23 years old, 5 feet tall, looked about 16, about 5 months of experience managing anything. Not only was I the boss of 70 men, I was the boss of my parents.
Oh.
Yeah. And it actually, I did that for 3.5 years. It actually was a very painful time for me because my father did not take to it very well. And I got so many challenges from him. In terms of what I was doing and the decisions I was making. It was a very, very, very painful time. But you know, it builds muscle.
Yeah, no adversity doesn't build any
Builds
muscle.
muscle.
Yeah.
So we sold the family business and then I went to do my MBA at Harvard.
Okay.
And what I really got from that, I remember doing a course with a professor on industrial relations. And I'd had a really tough time with the business was unionized, the workers were unionized. I'd had just a tough time. And I remember I actually just went to talk to him as therapy, basically. Second lesson, ask for help. and you know, I really just unburdened to him and spoke about it. And I really felt when I left there that I was healed.
Oh, wonderful.
Of that. So that when I left business school, went back to Jamaica and was running another business, it was a totally different experience.
The ask for help is a big one, isn't it?
And let me tell you, same thing. It was a food processing business, about 130 employees, unionized. Oh, Michael, it was the funnest job I've ever had. People would walk into our office and they'd look around and say, wow, what a happy place. And it was so different to the experience before. And that's when I knew, you know something? Joy at work, it's possible. This is what it's all about. Because it's not just about joy at work, it's also about joy just as who you are in your entire life.
I had a client years ago when I was in sales and marketing and consulting, and we'd be talking and he would say, you're the only consultant I have that comes into my retail outlet that tells me there's customers just walked in and there's nobody to take care of them. Yeah. He said, you understand. I enjoyed watching him work with clients, his clients, because there was so much love and respect and joy.
Yes.
And sometimes there were $2 transactions and sometimes there were $10,000 transactions.
Doesn't matter. The same.
But everybody was having a wonderful, respectful interaction.
Yes.
There was no power and control issues.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they were 7 years old or 77, and to this day, he's one of my gold standards of how to treat people.
Absolutely.
Would Mr. Calderon do it this well?
Yes, yes.
Good for you. Good for you.
So those are two of the experiences that I can readily recall on my journey to here.
Forgiveness and ask for help.
Ask for help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, those are big.
And the other thing is just to make a decision. And there are certain daily practices that I have, that I do regardless of anything going on in my life.
Can you share those?
Sure, absolutely. The very first one is gratitude. I mean, my goal in my life is to be in a constant state of grace, constant state of gratitude, that everything comes. I am grateful. That doesn't come that easily. So I do the gratitude journal thing, and I'm very serious about it. And I have a pile of gratitude journals about this high. And when I'm dead and gone, I'm sure somebody can go through and trace my entire life based on what I was grateful for on a particular day.
But it helps frame your point of reference for the day,
Absolutely.
your outlook, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And if we're focusing on being grateful and having gratitude, just like you talked about the concentration survivor, I've had clients twice now where there was people in the audience that were survivors.
Yes.
It's very humbling to have them in the audience.
Oh, I can imagine.
You want me to speak on being resilient and you have survivors of Auschwitz in the audience.
Yeah. Shall I sit down
but
and shall they come up?
But that's one of the things that the participants said is, even in your 80s, after having gone through the horrors of war and Auschwitz, we all, as humans, forget things on occasion.
Yes.
So we need to remind each other, and the asking for help you spoke of earlier
Yes.
was really key, because they said to the nursing vice president of education, yeah, we're told we're getting grumpy, some of us. And the VP of nursing said, so Michael, they're amazing people. Each one of them lived through history that was horrific, and yet they still smile and have fun.
Smile.
And when the grandchildren and great-grandchildren children visit, it's noisy around here.
Yeah.
So we went in, and I got to have a couple of 2-hour sessions with them, and I got more hugs there than any other place in my life.
Absolutely, yes.
And we had a lot of fun. But yes, your asking for help was huge. They insisted on help.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were stuck, and I was real impressed with that.
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't gotten the asking help thing down pat yet.
Who does?
And moving to Canada was a big lesson in that as well, because I was now transplanting myself and my 2 children, or 2 of my children. I have a much elder son. Here in a totally strange environment, climate, culture, everything.
And food.
Yeah.
I mean, culture is a big sweeping word,
Yes.
but having traveled just enough
Yeah.
to know that, oh, they don't serve that here.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have that here, and they've never heard of it.
Well, luckily they kind of do have everything in Toronto now.
Toronto spoils
It's
you.
great, it does. But I really have learned to ask for help and to accept offers of help very graciously now.
Because you never know.
You never know, and I've also had this thought around asking for help, that when people offer help, it's very selfish for you to decline that offer. Because when you think about it, when you think of the joy that you get in helping someone, when you say no, when someone has offered you help, you're denying them of that joy. So if you offer to buy me coffee, I'll accept.
Marguerite, would you like to go to coffee soon?
I'm always up for a good cup of coffee.
Oh, well, those are powerful lessons. And our time has gone by quickly.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
That's what happens when you're having fun.
Well, I always say we can have respectful fun and get a lot of work done.
Absolutely, we just did.
I helped someone deconstruct an older home that needed reconstruction. So we were a BAM deconstruction team. All the workers' initials, I'm in there.
Yeah.
And we were BAM deconstruction, and we had a lot of fun.
There you go. Why shouldn't you?
And we got a lot of work done. One of the things about joy is some people don't know how to get there.
Yes.
So I know that you're an author now, and you published a book.
Yes, I did.
And people will see a website on the screen when we're doing this
Okay.
with the voiceover. But it's got you on the cover being joyful, and it's called Free and Laughing.
Yes.
Spiritual insights into everyday moments.
Yes.
And so what would a reader get from this?
Well, the reader's going to get joy and love. And I'll tell you why. Because this was written and published with such love, you will not believe. It was actually not meant to be a book. So everyone I know who has ever written a book says it's the most painful experience. And I'm like, really? Because this was really a birthday gift for my mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she was going to be 90 years old a few years back. And I didn't know what in the world to give her because she had everything. And she was, saying, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this. I'm like, okay, so what do I give her? And then I was blogging at the time, which I still do. And so I came upon this idea, I'm going to do a book. So if Marguerite says, yeah, I'm going to do a book, like that. The book got done. But Michael, it was the most beautiful experience. And it taught me that when you're motivated by pure love, things will fall into place in the most divinely perfect way. The right book designer came along. The right book editor came along. I had the most amazing book launch with the Governor General turned up. It was unbelievable how things just... In fact, my book designer said, you know, I've never seen a book just come together like this. Just the right and perfect people just showed up at the right time. And I said, you know, when your intentions are pure love, because that's all it was, love for my mother.
Right.
It will go with ease, grace, and joy.
Oh, wonderful.
So, Mommy gave me the title, Free and Laughing.
Okay.
Yeah, because it came from an email that she had written, and if you get the book, you'll see the email.
Yes.
She gave me this title, Free and Laughing. So all of this was very intuitive. So it came out, she didn't know the book was being done, by the way. And as I sat there and I looked at the content, I saw it was how do you get to be free and laughing?
Joy is a big part of my life. Not to say I didn't remember the sadness and the pain of being ill and maybe dying, because I had lots of tears, but I had more laughter than I had tears after a couple days.
But in that moment of laughter, and this is the beauty of laughter, it is the one moment when you're really present.
Oh, absolutely.
And in that moment of laughter, there is no pain.
No, none at all.
There might be before.
And there is after.
Or right after. But in that moment, just in that moment, there's no pain.
It's all gone.
There's just laughter.
Physical, emotional.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gone.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. That's been my experience as well.
And so when you use laughter consciously, you can actually make yourself present, and things just don't bother you anymore.
It changes everything.
It does.
Your perspective on the day, your frame on the day, or the reframe of the day, whatever terms you wish to use.
Yes.
It changes everything. It's
It
a very
does.
powerful tool.
It does.
I had a client years ago who said, these 3 companies will not talk to us. We should be their key supplier for this product. And I met with their very nice 5 well-intentioned salespeople. And they told me, you know, they were leaving messages and nobody talked to them. And so I got appointments with every one of the firms and eventually the business because I, over 4 messages, left respectful, upbeat. And then the 5th message, I left respectful, gently silly laughter message. You're so busy, I think that your boss should get you rollerblades and a helmet. You're never at your phone. Don't call back, I'll call you. Thanks.
Yeah.
They all called eventually and said, you're the only person that's left me voicemail that's made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I hadn't taken your course yet.
There you go. You know, and I do some serious, the work I do in corporate is strategic planning.
That's serious and boring according to some.
Balanced scorecard.
Oh.
But can I tell you, we have so much fun. We laugh and enjoy ourselves, and people always come to the end and they say, you know, I didn't realize it would be so much fun, and time just flew past. And we did so much work.
And lots was accomplished.
Absolutely.
I heard laughter and joy as emotional lubrication for life. It just helps things slide along with more joy and ease.
Ooh, I like that one. Very nice. Thank you.
So thank you, Marguerite. We really have gone the distance on this one.
So, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Keep laughing.
Absolutely, and I look forward to another time.
Yep, absolutely.